Welcome to our studio. Continue working on this Black Rooster painting today. So here is my pochade box that mounted on the camera tripod, and it's ready to go in 10 seconds. So since I live in Washington State and it's been freezing outside, it's been below literally freezing temperature. So I just left my pochade box with all the wet paint on the glass palette in it. Then see how compact it becomes. It just becomes a nice little briefcase, like little suitcase. And I literally had this just standing outside of my studio door for last 2 days. And hopefully the paint is still nice and wet. So I just need to get my brushes out. Since I use only 4 paint tubes, I have a lot of room in this storage compartment for the brushes, and I forgot to wash my brushes last time, the other day. Okay, so I'm using this reference photo that I took a while ago. And in the last session, I blocked in the major shapes with basic colors, and I'm going to make some adjustment of the shapes. Then I'm going to start adding the details. So I already overlaid the grid lines over this reference image, and I'm gonna start reworking on the shapes of his comb. All right. So I'm using 3 primary colors made of cadmium lemon yellow, permanent rose, and ultramarine blue. And I have titanium white. Just gonna add a little bit of yellow into this, and this becomes my red. See if I can match the color. It's a little bit darker than what I had before. So I adjusted the photo so that the contrast of this red comb is a little bit more clear, and it has a light translucent part and darker spot with more mass or more volume. So it's not just completely flat. Also this needs to become darker because it's in the shadow. So I'm adding the second note while adjusting the value of each color masses. Just gonna make a darker version of this red. I'm not using any medium in this. First of all, adding medium, the medium I use is called the solvent-free medium, and it's not really glossy, but it still creates significant gloss. So this is what I'm using. I would use for adding more glossiness, but I don't want to have any glare. I'm not gonna use this in this session. There's no reason to use it because my paint is still nice and wet. I'm squinting my eyes to see what needs to be darkened. So it just needs to go up a little bit higher. Just so you know, so my pochade box is mounted on a camera tripod like this, and I'm painting in my office chair, so I can just roll back and forth to see my painting from away. And I have my camera webcam on the light stand between my legs, so you can see you can see my feet. This is so much more versatile than using regular camera tripod for the webcam. And also to avoid glare, I'm trying to use vertical brush strokes. I'm using number 2. I think this is flat. Could be using filbert too, doesn't matter. Because after using the brush for a while, the bristles start to wearing out. and everything becomes like a short flat. So this needs to be a little bit bigger here. Just laying in all the big shapes. Now, I just mixed the half tone to bridge this dark and the lit side, or light side. It's not in the light, but it's lighter than the dark shapes. So I created the half tone, and I'm gonna place them in between. Maybe I need to exaggerate that. And also wiping the brush as often as possible so that my brush doesn't get muddy. This is going to be the lighter part on the cone. It's more pink. One thing I love about painting chickens is the lighting effect on the comb with backlighting. And I practice painting this effect not from painting from life, because chickens just don't sit still in a nice lighting condition unless they are sleeping in the chicken coop, and there's not much light in there, right? So I practice this painting kind of translucent effect, lighting effect, using like painting like orange, the slice of orange and slices of pink grapefruit or even tomatoes. I'm gonna add, I don't wanna add too much white to this, but maybe I will do that. Creating just lighter version with more pink in it. And titanium white is very opaque and has nice strong tinting power. The just painting and leaving. I'm exaggerating the light and dark in the comb so that I can glaze over it with adjustment layer. Alright, let's go back to his face. Needs to be a little bit darker here. So his earlobe. Okay, let's work on his body. So I'm using my custom black made from 3 primary colors, mostly blue and red, blue and permanent rose with hint of yellow in it to desaturate the dark purple. Okay, I'll use a little bit more of this. I tell you what, I think I'm gonna use a palette knife to mix more of this custom black just creating a mixing area. I'm actually standing up because it's easy to get around to grab my tools and see my painting in progress more objectively. But I just wanted to show you that if you have to be seated in a chair, it's totally doable. Just remember to take a quick break often enough so that you can see your painting from a little bit further away, so that you can see a bigger picture of your painting rather than bogged down on the details. So this is my custom black. I could be using bigger brush, but I already used the brush. Something else. Let's see if I can put it off. Just gonna wipe this brush because I was using this for painting the background and I haven't washed it. Okay, it's doable. Maybe I'll add a little bit more yellow to this, just because it's getting a little bit too purpley. Again, I'm using vertical stroke to minimize the glare, and also it kind of follows the direction of his feathers, so it works perfectly. And I'm holding my brush as flat as possible against the canvas so that I can leave more paint rather than lifting it off. And that's another reason it works better to take a break from the painting session for a couple of days to let the paint to settle down. Even just half an hour or a couple of hours makes a big difference, especially when you're using fast drying medium. Need to reshape his waddle, this big red thing below his face. This time I don't want to leave a lot of white gap between the colors. Now I'm going to create a halftone between the lit side and shadow side of the rooster body. So this was the lit side, and this is the shadow side. It's already kind of contaminated. And if I just blend these two, it becomes too much like greenish. It's almost like a yellow ochre, so I need to add more pink to this. I'm gonna test this, see how it works. You see, it makes a nice bridge between the two extreme colors, and adding this magenta, pinkish orange creates a nice bridge. And this is how you create a more impressionistic and painterly look, rather than blending these two extreme colors on canvas, which is also possible, but you are missing the opportunity to add this halftone. Adding a little bit more of dark to create the darker version of this. The key is that as long as you have the value relationship right, you can get away with more interpretive colors. Doesn't really matter if it's the same color as the photo. And this is part of where you can start adding your personal taste, and that becomes your personal style too. This needs to become a little bit shorter. So if you just join me, I'm using this portable pochade box mounted on the camera tripod, and I'm sitting in an office chair, so I can move back and forth. And it literally took me just a couple of minutes to get started with painting, because I had my paint still nice and wet on this glass palette since 2 days ago when I did the first demo session. I think this part could use a little bit of warm color. This needs really intense dark right here. Sometimes we invite chickens in the house too, and I have to use this method when I'm painting in the living room with them, because they want to pick at my paint. Or we also have a small bird like Charlie the quail, and we don't want him to walk all over my wet palette. So this method works perfectly. So if you are worried about your small pet around your easel, this pochade box with a tripod is something you want to consider. And I have all the product that I use for this particular painting session in the description below of this video. That's a direct link to my to the Amazon product page. So I'm thinking that maybe I need to create a stronger contrast here, but we'll see what happens. Also, I think this needs to be a little bit lighter too. Just gonna try to take care of as much painting as possible without switching to a small brush. So I got some questions about my upcoming course called Painting Adventure Blueprint. In that course, I'll be utilizing simple still life lessons for my demonstration, but you're not limited to just paint the same thing. Of course, I want you to watch my demo and learn my process and technique from my demo. Then you can apply the technique and the process to your own subject. But in case you are worried about not having your painting reference, you can use my reference images, including still life, to practice and get feedback on your technique. So it's not about producing and completing something that you can put in a gallery or enter in a show. You'll be painting. You'll be doing painting with me to practice. So this part needs to be lighter. This is just the separation between different parts of the cape that he has. So it's not two different objects. It's just exaggerated to show you where the light starts and shadow starts. So I'm using halftone to bridge them and create softer edges. Now I can work on the lid side of the comb. First I'm going to create more orange. So this is my mother color. I'm gonna modify this, adding more yellow to lighten it. It has a little bit of white in it because I'm blending it with the pink. Yes, I think. Dark shape has to come a little bit further to the right. I'm using another brush to work on the dark side of the background. All right. Do you guys have chickens as pets, or do you know someone who has chicken? Just curious. I'm gonna clean this up a little bit. This is more like pure black. I'm gonna re-establish his eye and darkest darks. In case you just joined, I'm just using my Perfect palette, which is made of permanent rose, ultramarine blue, and cadmium lemon yellow. I want this part to be nice and intense dark. Oh, plus I have titanium white on my palette, so that's what I call my Perfect palette. And in blueprint course, we'll do exercise of color mixing from this limited palette, special limited palette called Perfect palette. I'll show you. Just to give you an idea, I made this enhanced color wheel called Super Color Wheel on 8x10 canvas, and including the grayscale on the side. The white is titanium white front tube, but everything else is mixed from this Perfect palette. And I have 36 colors total in here, and 4 colors in the grayscale. That means I created 40 different colors from this limited palette. So you don't need to buy all those 40 different colors. I'm gonna use baby wipe to clean my hand. Baby wipes work pretty well for wiping my hands. It doesn't have fragrance. It doesn't bother me. I'm very sensitive to smell, including turpentine or terpenoid. So I never use them. I use Gamsol, which is artist grade odorless mineral spirit. It's even different from the regular odorless mineral spirit that you buy from hardware store. Okay. We're doing see if I can enhance the highlight on the water. So this is the highlight, the lightest highlight in here, but it's still not bright enough. So I'm going to add a little bit of white and more yellow. I've been avoiding using too much titanium white because it cools down whatever the color you're mixing. Wiping my brush really well just to switch to the dark side of the water. I decided not to use the same brush. So now, this is like a jigsaw puzzle. The more I fix, the more I see my drawing errors. This red is a little bit too intense for being in the shadow side. So, desaturating it with more muted color here. paint this right side with the halftone. This creates a better sense of form without making the color too muddy. I'm using brush strokes to create this hint of his feathers. Need a better definition of this cast shadow of his water. Okay, let's work on his tail, because I think this needs to come a little bit more to the left. I'm talking about the body. Okay, I'm gonna use this brush. So let's see if I can make this easy for you to see. Just moving this background color over here, creating a mixing zone in the middle. One of the biggest mistakes that the beginning artists make is that they don't clean their palette often enough, so their mixing color is already getting muddy on the palette before even they've applied on canvas. I'm gonna add a little bit of custom black, because it has everything to make this custom black. So it's nice modifier to neutralize the color, and also maintains the harmony because it has all the ingredient on my palette. Like I need to make up a little bit more, a little bit bigger pile of the. Okay, I'm just gonna take this. Color mixing is a good exercise to learn to see the colors, and also it's almost meditative. Maybe a little bit too intense, so I'm adding more white and yellow to desaturate. And I'm gonna add more yellow. Because I don't want it to be too happy. His tail is behind his face, so I don't want it to jump out too much. This is where I'm using artistic license and using interpretive color. I'm going to redraw his silhouette a little bit better here. I'm just using the custom black. And I'm redrawing the feathers with dark colors. It doesn't have to be exactly like the photo. My job is to make the painting look good. Making this side a little bit darker outside of the lid side of his body, so that it looks more contrasty. Between his body and the hair in the background. Softening the edge of the shadow side so that it's not standing out too much. Alright. Now let's have fun with more. Some of green sheen here. Could use a little bit more white here. Let's try this again. This part has too much sharp, hard edge right here going into the corner, so I want to do something about it. Maybe I might make it darker. Now I can use some of this lavender on this side for the reflected light in the shadow coming from the sky. Maybe that's too light. That's better. Now I can lay a lighter version of this to suggest the feathers, but not too much. This middle section is really dark because it's not receiving reflected light or the sunlight. It's called terminal. There's no light, not much light showing in here compared to other sections, so it can be quite dark. I'm just using custom black. I need to wait for this to dry up and rework on the darkest part of this because it's just too wet. But the idea is to have this clean shadow edge. I think I want to work on the background to carve out his comb. This part is called comb. I think I'm gonna use a smaller brush. I'm gonna test it and see if the color matches. So this is the leftover background color. I just kept it on the edge of the palette. Now I'm gonna move this background color back into this mixing stage. So I want to have the lighter version and the dark version. Yeah, you see I'm repurposing all these colors on my palette. Instead of wiping everything away each time I want to start working for different color family. Test this and see. Okay, it's not bad. I'll test this one on this side. Could be a little bit lighter. So there's a little bit of white in here. I'm just scraping this with palette knife and recycle it in here. Look at that. So now I have two nice separate colors for the background. I think I wanna use this as my halftone and use the custom black and a little bit of halftone as my dark version. Add a little bit of yellow to desaturate that. You see how versatile this palette, limited palette method is. It doesn't matter what kind of limited palette you're using, but I'm using my original palette, limited palette. I call the perfect palette. Okay, I'm gonna test this. So I want to create a kind of a broken color effect in the background rather than working on the details and rendering the details what in the background, like the table, picnic table, and my husband bottom. He's sitting on the table, in case you're wondering. Not gonna paint those in. I'm gonna create vignette effects so outside will be a little bit darker. I'm using a small brush. This is number 2, but it doesn't mean that I'm gonna be putting a lot of details. Okay, I guess I can use the other brush. For the lid side, okay, so his feet needs to be a little bit shorter and more rounded. See how flexible oil paint is. So the next thing is This side. But that's too dark. Just so you know, I'm not using any Gamsol or any solvant today yet. I mainly use that for applying the wash at the beginning. Then when the paint is completely dry, I might use solvent-free medium gel. I use the one from Gambling. So this is the center. This is a midline. So if I were to cut this like piece of cake top of his comb, I might make this a little bit shorter because I made it a little bit too long and too wide. Because the color mixture of the comb has exactly the same pigment that I'm using for the background, I can get away with this without creating muddy feeling. Also, I'm not blending on the canvas. If this was completely different color, I'll be more careful, but it's very similar. Root of his comb. I'm sitting so far away from the canvas so I can see like my reference images on the table. So this is a good pro tip for you if you have a small pet like cat who like to wander on your table. You can just have your pochade box mounted on the tripod. You can leave your reference image displayed on the device like iPad. I'm using Samsung, it doesn't matter, or laptop. I don't think they will they can make too much damage with a display on a device, but they'll be completely kept away from your wet canvas and the wet palette. I had to go through all this trial and error because we have chickens, and when we raise baby chicks in the house, they become a huge concern too. By the way, we might be getting new baby chicks this spring, so stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do, and you can follow me and meet our new baby chicks. And of course, they'll become my new painting supermodels. The other day I saw I spend too much time watching other people's videos, but I like following this channel about the goldfish. One of my favorite one is Luke's Goldie, and he had a webcam set up in front of a fish tank for 8 hours and a bunch of people were watching, and the funny thing is that nobody is talking. The owner, the creator of the channel is not even there, but the viewers are engaging with each other in a live chat, asking each other, is the fish moving? Is he dead? No, I don't think he's dead yet. He's moving. And everybody's cheering. Let's go, buddy! You can do it. You can swim. And I don't know what happened after that stream. Maybe he was dying. But the point is that the people are watching that video, the live stream of the little goldfish in the fish tank, and I think I'm gonna have my webcam set up for our baby chicks and live streaming when I'm not painting. And I can also monitor how our baby chicks are doing when I'm not in the house, because my studio is away from, it's on the same premise, but it's away from the house. I have to put shoes on and put jacket and walk back to the house to use the restroom or to refill my coffee. So that's my daily exercise. So the combs of chickens come in all kinds of shapes and sizes and even different colors. There are some chickens with black combs that we have, and there are some chickens without comb like this. So very handy for cold winter. just carving out the shape of his cone. I want to make sure it has a nice value contrast on this side. Especially outside of his beak. I can use this same color. This. The main job of the painting is to keep the viewer's attention on the painting. So I'm darkening the edges and corners so that the viewer's attention goes back and stays inside my painting a little bit longer. And I'm changing the shape of this highlight because it looks like a clone of this one. So I'm making it a different shape and moving decreasing the color of the tail feathers. making it better too. Just a little bit of definition. By rotating the brush, I'm using a filbert brush, but rotating, you can use the wide side and narrow side depending on what you want to do with. So sometimes you can just get away with a single brush for a lot of different brush marks. See if I can work on. Just want to fix part of his beak. It's not completely black, and it's
a little different than all the rest. I'm quite old-fashioned, wear a hat, sometimes play chess. And when I'm out, I'm looking for that vintage fling. But all complexions that I adore, so hard to find, they seem impossible.
I made a mistake.
So I dream on to someday find that vintage love. I kept on looking, but everyone's such a bore. And out of a sudden, you came through the door. At the next table, you're whisking me. The lights were
See if I
dim as
can
our eyes met, moves on
make highlight for the corn.
forevermore. I like to share that vintage dream.
So I'm placing my pinky on the edge of the pochade box to stabilize my brush hand. I think the comb needs to be a little bit darker so that this highlight will pop out better. Like this needs to be cleaner color. Time to clean my palette. Mine is different tool for this. Okay, where's my laser blade? There it is. So here's my razor blade. So if you use paper palette, you can't do this. You just have to throw away your palette with all the paint, good or bad, on the palette. And plus, you can't save that the paper palette in the freezer because they will get wrinkled up with condensation in it in the palette storage box. So if you are interested in learning oil painting with me, my painting adventure blue course print is open for enrollment right now, and the door is closing soon. There's a link inside the description of this video below, and you can check it out. And if you click on the sign up button, you'll see two options of payment plans. So the first, one payment or 3 payment. Okay, so what I want to do is to squeeze out more colors. I have white. Okay. I gotta take this coal. So this is what I'm using. Permanent rose. All the basic supplies are listed in the video description below as well. So you don't have to waste your time doing online research. You can just click on the link and you can get most of this on Amazon. Maybe a little bit more. Okay. Time to clean my hands with baby wipes. Alright, custom black. Blue, pink, rose, yellow, okay. I was too lazy to wipe my palette knife. It contaminated my permanent rose, so I'm just gonna remove this section. And put it in here. Your color mixing skill with palette knife will get better with practice. So that's why I don't mind remixing colors. And I'm gonna put this custom black on the side. Okay, where were we? Okay, so we decided that the red needs to be darker on this part of the cone. So I'm gonna take permanent rose. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the chat. I'll be happy to answer when I can. I'm gonna test this. It's a little bit darker. I love permanent rose because it's transparent. So it's great for glazing like this. And I'm using the brush with the bristle really flat against the canvas so that I'm not removing the pigment that already on the canvas. Yeah, so we were discussing that the comb with the highlight needs to be darker so that it shows the highlight better, right? Without using pure white, because pure white is kind of boring and looks too cool. So we need to make the non-highlight side darker. And that's how you create a more stronger value contrast. Really discussed where the focal point is. So my focal point is actually not, it's not his eye like we usually see on my pet portrait, but it's more of this growing part of the comb. That's my point of interest. And that's exactly why I wanted to paint this particular photo. And also this lighting effect on waddle. So this whole area is my focal point, and this green sheen on the tail feathers, these are kind of like the side cast. It's almost like if you use the analogy of Batman, the Batman is this part. This is the Batman in the movie, and these green sheen of the tail feathers, these are like Robin, the sidekick. I think I made it a little bit too light. I don't know. We'll see. I just want to make sure that this highlight will pop out. How to keep track of which point I'm working on. Okay, I need another one right here. Okay. I'm recreating the highlight color. It's not pure white, it has some pink and some yellow in it. Oh, I was right originally. Okay. Now I know. Yeah, another trick is to make the background darker and more muted. Like you can, in the photo, we can see the dark side of the tree trunk behind his comb. Trying to see if I can do this without making this like pure black. It's pretty warm too. We have to have a lot of strategic plans to make this contrast. Viewers' attention will go to wherever the value contrast is strong. So before, even I don't have perfect color temperature, I wanna nail this value contrast first. Okay, now I'm getting a clear picture of what needs to be done with his comb. Okay, so this is the first one in the row. Two, three. It's kind of obscured in the background, right? Get the shorty here. Before adding highlight, I need to fix the dark side. So I love painting still life of orange slices and like pink grapefruit. I like painting citrus and even tomatoes to study this lighting effect on the comb. I'm adding more custom black into the background color. Oh, I see. This needs to be bigger and taller. You have to keep wiping your brush at each stroke because I'm embedding the background color. This goes shorter. As soon as I put the darker tone in the background, it becomes more dramatic. So I must admit, this part needs to become a little bit drier before I can go back and re-establish this point. So I'm gonna just keep moving. So my plan is to make this area darker and this part a little bit lighter so that it has contrast against the black beak. Because I can leave my canvas inside this pochade box after this session, I don't have to worry about painting all the way to the edge and touching the wet paint. I also make a special canvas holder for handling small wet canvases called the Canvas Body Pro. The first model is called Canvas Body Pro ETE. It stands for edge to edge. It allows you to paint from edge to edge without getting your hand messy with wet paint. Okay. Creating more vignette effect. That's too light, too dark. I'll make a more quiet background without making like a flat background. So in our blueprint course, you will learn how to create interesting background utilizing the gradation. And with this perfect palette method, we can keep adjusting and creating interesting color on the fly. So this side of the comb is kind of lost without much definition, but it's okay as long as I can make this part tack sharp and have strong contrast. See what we can do about that. I'm creating clean warm orange with white added to it. This is, as far as I can see in the photo, this is the brightest highlight. Came in boo boo. I want this to be darker and a bit warmer. Maybe I'm gonna get rid of this. Okay. I'm gonna work on the beat. Needs to be darker. It's still too long. He's partially turning toward us, kind of like three-quarter look, three-quarter angle. Now it gets lighter in value here. This needs to be darker. This is half tone on the cheek. this has a little bit of white, so it's more opaque. Like this highlight is maybe too big. Gotta fix that. Okay. So adjusting the value relationship here inside the value. Needs to have a sharp edge. not easy because it already has black underneath, and if I push too hard with brush, it picks up the dark color. Just need to stay with very light touch. That's his earlobe. I think that's too pink. Yellow. Good painting takes time. Need to keep wiping brush. Establishing the ducts on the beak. Does this glow? It's too light. Yellow. It's not it shouldn't be lighter than the actual highlight on the lid side. It's not easy to do this on a small canvas like this, but it is what it is. Maybe I can use a small brush. Okay, we are almost done. Need to start wrapping up. Alright, I think this is a good stopping point. So I'm gonna take a break and see what I can do in the next session. Well, thank you for watching.